The first setting that you need to change are your grass settings, because if you didn't know yet, when you have your grass settings all the way set to ultra high, as you can see right now when you're for example doing the Kaipuriko gather intel mission, you will see that there will be a lot of grass on the ground, which makes it easy to bump into one of the other trees that are right in front of you. But to prevent this, instead of all the way to ultra, put this to normal and you will see a huge difference that the grass will be almost completely removed, which will make it a lot easier and might also give you some FPS advantages since the game just looks a lot cleaner. Now the next setting that you want to change is when you zoom in with your gun. Sometimes it happens that when zooming in, if you do this a bit too fast, you will see that your weapon wheel will pull out at the same time that you're zooming in, which literally makes doing missions with this really annoying. So instead what you want to do is open up your settings, go towards weapon select, and right over here you will see the next weapon and previous weapon. You just want to change this to a button that you barely use, or at least not the one for zooming in, where I ended up changing this to page up and page down. And now when you go back in game, you will see that you will literally never be able to open up your weapon wheel and easily able to kill everyone that is further in the distance. The next setting that you want to turn off is the vehicle camera height, which by default for some of you is set to low. If you have this set to low, this will make it a bit more difficult to see what's going around the map, especially when you're going from lower to higher places. It makes it even worse. You want to get as much vision as you can, so in order to do that, open up your settings, go back towards camera, and what you want to do is set the vehicle camera height towards high instead of low. And what is this guy doing? I guess some NPCs get mad if you change it to this. But now when you're driving around, you will see that you have a lot more overview of your entire vision, where you will be easily able to spot cars that are coming from the left and right side. Now another setting that can help you a lot with getting more vision just like the car, but this time in first person mode, is by increasing your FOV. As you can see right now in front of me, I can see the counter of a store that I'm inside, but you can increase this by going into camera and you want to change this setting all the way towards the right side. And as you can see right now, the cashier of the store has appeared right in the corner, wherein for example missions or PvP fights could help you spot a lot more. Now the next setting can help you when you're aiming at enemies, because as you can see right now, most of you guys also have this, where almost every one of your guns would just have a simple dot on the screen. But you can actually change this if you go into your settings, head over towards display, and instead of having the weapon target set on simple, you want to change this to complex. What this will do is you will see, for example for the shotgun, the range that the shotgun would normally shoot at is inside of this range compared to just a simple circle. The same thing applies for this pistol, where you will have a bit of a different crosshair, and when you're shooting with your weapon, you will also see the more that you shoot, the higher the range will become, which can give you a better indication of where you need to shoot at. The same is for the shotgun. As I mentioned previously, you will see that a simple dot will not be the only place that it reaches, but the bullets will be spread a little bit from each other. This is really preference though. If you like just having a dot on your screen, I wouldn't mind changing it at all. The next setting might help you when you just want to chill around, not get bothered by anything, and just drive with your car and not get disturbed by any of the text messages. In order to do that, you can open up your settings, and under your notifications, you are able to disable the phone alerts right over here, where you can also disable a lot of other notifications in here. The next setting can make you a bit dizzy, because if you have motion blur on, you will see that when you're moving around a lot, your screen starts getting blurry, which some people like, but this will reduce your vision by a lot because everything is just blurred around. So if you want to turn this off, go into your graphic settings. You can either choose to put the post FX to normal, or if you still have it on, you just want to decrease the motion blur strength all the way towards the back. And now when you're back, you will see that your game will not be blurred anymore, which makes seeing things a lot easier. But there's one more setting that can hinder your vision, where when you will be zooming in at anything, you will see that the back will be automatically blurred. As you can see right now, when I'm zooming in at this pole or at this tree, you will see that the background will be completely blurred. It does look pretty sick in a cinematic way, but this won't give you any advantages when you're playing the game, as it will just make it harder when you're fighting with someone, or when a random car drives by, your focus will be automatically shifted towards that. Now when you're fighting with someone else in first person mode and start rolling around, you will see that you will have no vision when this happens. But there is a way to change this, because if you go back into the camera settings, you want to disable the first person combat roll, because now when you're in first person and roll around, you will see that you will be put into third person for a second, which makes it a lot easier and gives you a better overview of what is happening around you. But there is one more setting that can also hinder you a lot when you're playing in first person mode, which is by taking cover. If you take cover behind any object, you absolutely lose all of your vision, where if you would have been in third person, this would have been way better. Luckily, there is a setting for that, which you can enable at the camera settings again, and what you want to look for is first person, third person cover, and make sure to put this on, because now when you're back, you will see when you're in first person mode taking cover, you will have way more vision, and when you stop taking cover, you will be immediately back into first person mode. A extra little tip: when you're running around in first person mode and if you see that your screen moves a lot while you're running, it is because you have your head bobbing on, which is a setting that makes it realistic when your character is running around. However, you can disable this at the camera settings again, and here you want to disable this setting. Now you can run again, and as you can see, there is a huge difference between these two clips. Now the next setting that you might want to change temporarily because you want to have a bigger overview of the map, you don't just want to keep enlarging it, because after a few seconds it will be back into normal, which is pretty annoying. However, if you go into your settings and this time into display, you can choose to enable the expanded radar, where you will be able to see a lot more of the map, which can make it easier when you're, for example, PvPing with someone and want to know his exact location the entire time. This does take a bit more space of your screen, but when you're done with whatever you needed it for, you can always immediately disable it again. If you play in public lobbies often and don't want other people to spectate you for whatever reason, you can go into online and then down towards options, because right over here you will see allow spectators, which you can actually turn off. This will let other players from their TV not be able to spectate you, which can maybe help you. But if you go back into the options, you might be getting random text messages from random players that you don't want to receive at all. You can disable this at play text messages and choose exactly who you want to be able to send messages towards you. You can either disable this entirely or enable this for your friends and crew, which I have set it on. Now you have the best settings that you can possibly have before entering GTA Online. But if you want to know the best tips and tricks inside the game now, check out this video where I've shared the best tips that I wish I knew sooner when I started with the game.